For 122 years, Hull House helped the poorest families in Chicago. Job training, foster care, child care. Then, almost overnight, it was gone. The doors locked, and about 300 people were out of work within days. It was not the mission that failed, it was the cash. Most people assumed a place that old and that respected was rock solid. It was not. And the way it fell is a warning for every nonprofit that runs on grants and government contracts. Let me show you where the cash actually went. Hull House began in 1889 with Jane Addams, and it grew into one of the most respected social service organizations in the country. By the end, it was serving about 60,000 people a year on a budget of roughly $40 million. Real work, real impact for over a century. But look at how that work was paid for. Most of the money came from government contracts, and government contracts almost never pay you up front. You do the work first, and you get paid back later, sometimes months later. Think about what that means for your cash. Hull House had to pay its staff, its rent, and its programs this month, using money it would not be reimbursed for until much later. Every single month, it was floating a gap between the cash going out and the cash coming back. As long as it could cover that gap, it survived. And here is the part that decided everything. Hull House had almost no reserves, no real cushion. So when that gap got wider, there was nothing to fall back on. A big, respected organization was living paycheck to paycheck, just with more zeros. On paper, in a good year, the books could look balanced. But a balanced budget is not the same as cash in the bank. When the reimbursements ran slow and donations softened after the 2008 recession, the gap stopped being something they could cover, and they had no reserve to buy time. So they did what a lot of organizations do. They borrowed to bridge the gap. They drew on a line of credit. They waited on reimbursements that came later and later. Each month, the hole got a little deeper, and the debt made the next month harder, not easier. In January of 2012, the cash simply ran out. 122 years of history ended in a matter of days. About 300 employees were let go with almost no notice. 60,000 people lost the services they counted on. Not because the work stopped mattering, because there was no cash left to do it. Now let me be honest with you, the way I always am. A cash flow advisor could not have invented money that was not there. The funding pressure was real. But here is what the numbers were screaming for years, to anyone actually watching the cash instead of the mission. 1. When you live on delayed grants and reimbursements, timing is everything. And a 13-week and 13-month cash view shows you the squeeze months before it hits. 2. Reserves are not a luxury for a nonprofit. They are survival. They are the only thing that buys you time when a payment is late. 3. Watch the cash, not just the budget. A balanced budget can hide an empty bank account. And here is why this matters to you. You do not run a $40 million organization, but if you run a food pantry, an after-school program, or a community center, you are living the exact same story, just with fewer zeros. You do the work now, and you wait on a grant or a contract to pay you back. That gap is where good organizations quietly die. So here is the one question I would ask you today. If your biggest grant or contract paid 60 days late, could you still make payroll? Most directors do not actually know, and that one answer tells you whether your mission is safe or one late check away from a crisis. That is what my work is about, helping you see the cash gap coming, build a real reserve, and make sure a late payment never puts your mission at risk. I put a lot of this into my book, and I am always glad to take an honest look at your numbers. No pitch, just the truth, so what you have built lasts. Watch the cash, not just the mission. It is almost always the cash.